Elephant in the room, I have a mustache. I'm trying to take on the persona of Aiden and Gardner, okay? Other elephant in the room, and not elephant as in metaphorical, but elephant as in massive human being. Did you see that picture of Tyree Wilson at the defensive line camp, whatever they're doing with Kuntz and Crosby? He looks like an absolute monster. He looks like someone who's playing defensive tackle. And if that shows you anything right out the gate, because look, I know it's a big leap to say he looks bigger, he's going to be better. Look, bigger doesn't mean better, right? Max Crosby isn't the biggest guy in the world, but he is one of the best, if not the best, defensive players in the National Football League. Malcolm Kuntz is not that big either. I mean, look at the picture. Tyree Wilson is doubling the size of these guys. But if you were somebody who maybe was questioning the work ethic of Tyree Wilson, it seems as though Antonio Pierce said, big boy, you're going inside, 3 technique. In the middle between Kuntz and Crosby, next to Christian Wilkins. Ever heard of him? You need to get bigger, faster, stronger. And in the offseason, Tyree was by the sides of Max Crosby and Malcolm Kuntz and Christian Wilkins when we finally signed him. And now he looks like a woolly mammoth. And I mean that with all the respect in the world. He looks like he could eat Chris Jones for breakfast. And I can't wait to see if he's going to be a true 3 technique defensive tackle next to Tyree Wilson. Because I made a video a couple days ago, you could go check that out, it's on the channel, about my potential concerns or players we need to step up. And one of those people that was mentioned in the article is Byron Young, the second year, whatever, defensive tackle, because we are lacking a little defensive tackle depth. However, if Tyree Wilson is going to be that other starting DT next to Christian Wilkins and Adam Butler and John Jenkins are off the bench coming in as rotational guys, that solves our defensive tackle problem. Now, there are other people out there, defensive end-wise, we can go get like a Yannick Ngakoue that would really shore up the rotation if Tyree was supposed to slide into the inside. But another thing we have now, flexibility-wise, if Tyree translates to how big he is in the offseason to how good he could be during the season, is that he can slide outside every now and again, and then we can bring in an Adam Butler or John Jenkins or Young to take that slot. We have a rotational group of guys that can come in and play different positions and mix and match. And Tyree Wilson looking like an absolute monster is really putting my mind at ease. Because, you know, anytime a rookie doesn't play well their first season, or I shouldn't say doesn't play well, doesn't put up the numbers that the whatever pick he was overall, 7th overall pick should be, you start to question if the pick was right, what was going on. And, of course, the regimes that were in place and the new regime now was like, well, look, he didn't have an off season last year. He got hurt. He wasn't supposed to play as much as, you know, Chandler Jones is supposed to be the guy. Obviously, that stuff, he went crazy. And now Tyree Wilson had to come in and he had to play when he didn't need to or when we didn't want him to. But it's like, you're a top 10 pick. You can't get like 6 sacks. And he came along at the end of the season. We started to see Tyree Wilson making plays in the run game, batting balls down. He looked like a big, strong guy. And Malcolm Kuntz came in and took that DE2 spot from him. So it was like, oh boy, did we waste another pick? What's up with this guy? Is he a hard worker? Does he want it? And all signs show, whether or not he's talented enough to have been selected where he was, whether or not he ends up being as good as we want him to be or as we think he should be, it's proven that he wants it, that he's working his tail off. He was at that sack summit camp with Max Crosby and Malcolm Kuntz and some of our defensive tackles. He is by the sides of all these guys. And Christian Wilkins said in this introductory press conference, Tyree Wilson is going to be a guy I'm taking under my wing because we need him to be special. And if he is going to be as good as he looks physically, the sky is the absolute limit for Tyree Wilson and the rest of these guys. Let's think back to some people who had slow rookie seasons, defensive line-wise, and then really picked it up. You know, I'm struggling to come up with one that was maybe not as good as rookie year, showed some flashes, but then exploded his second year. Can anybody think of anybody like that? Max Crosby had like 10 sacks his rookie year. Is anybody out there? Maybe, what's his name? I don't know. Khalil Mack. How many sacks did he have his rookie year? I think it was 4.5. Here's the difference between Khalil Mack and Tyree Wilson. Tyree Wilson has guys at his disposal to prop him up to take away those doubles. Khalil Mack, his rookie season, maybe still was getting doubled. He only had like Justin Tuck to bounce off of, and Justin Tuck was a great guy for Khalil Mack to mentor under, but he was there for 1 year and then bounced. Tyree Wilson has prime opportunities, and I'm going to be honest with you, this is a make-or-break season for him. He's got literally no excuses, especially with how much he's shown that he cares about playing at a high level and getting his body right and listening to Antonio Pierce and following Max Crosby and Malcolm Kuntz and Christian Wilkins. He has no excuse. If he does not play well this season or if he gets hurt again, then he's either an unhealthy player in terms of injury proneness. That's not his fault, but some people are just like that. And he's just not as talented as we think he is because he's not going to be doubled at all. He's going to have all the weapons at his disposal. He's got Patrick Graham, who's a great defensive coordinator, somebody who we thought maybe wasn't that great, but turns out he's pretty good. He's got Antonio Pierce, a great head coach who is going to be defensive-minded and who is a motivator. So if he's lacking motivation, there's guys all around him that can bring that out of him. And there's guys that he could learn around, like a Max Crosby. And look, he's at the SAC Summit, so he's going to be learning a lot. And the thing I like the most about Tyree Wilson is that he understands that his rookie year did not go as planned, right? No rookie year usually does unless you're CJ Stroud. He hasn't come out and been tweeting about, I'm going to prove y'all wrong. Or if he has, it hasn't been that loud. He knows that he's got to show it on the field. And what I'm very interested to see is the reps that the defense and Tyree Wilson gets in particular. Because you have to assume, I think that like Max Crosby and Christian Wilkins maybe won't play that first game, or Kuntz, maybe they'll play a drive. I want to see if Tyree Wilson is playing snaps in the preseason when the rest of those guys are not. And I want to see what's going to happen in that second game where the starters go out there. Because if Tyree is playing well into like the third quarter, that's not going to be good. That's going to show that they need to see more out of him even after he worked so hard in minicamp and OTAs and after he played good or bad in these joint scrimmages in training camp. If he's playing well into the third quarter, that was like a Josh Jacobs thing. Remember, it was like, why is Josh Jacobs playing in the Hall of Fame game? This is weird. You know, Josh McDaniels was a weird guy, and he wanted to make him prove it or whatever. And then he had the best season of any Raider running back of the last 30 years. I want to see how Tyree does in these joint scrimmages, and I want to see how long he plays into these preseason games. And if he plays well into the third quarter of these preseason games and the other starters are not out there, he better dominate. He better have a presence. He better step up. And, you know, I guess it comes down to what you believe, and this is where you guys can start commenting. Do you believe in Tebow Magic? Do you believe in me? We'll see. Remember that song? Do you believe Tyree Wilson is going to take that big leap? That's a thing that we need to be talking about. I don't know if I think he's going to take a big leap into superstar player. I don't know if he has that in him at all. It remains to be seen. I think it's important to not jump to conclusions with these rookies right away because it takes people a long time sometimes to develop into something special. I think a lot of times we are spoiled with the Mahomeses and the Crosbys of the world who just come onto the scene and bang, especially Crosby, who was a fourth rounder or fifth rounder, whatever he was. Tyree Wilson, the sixth or seventh pick overall. You expect him to just be like, bang, hit immediately. And sometimes that's not the case. Think about Colton Miller. Colton Miller was a guy who did not play that well his rookie year to the point where we were like, oh, my God, this guy sucks. That Bronco game, he was getting destroyed by Von Miller. And it was just like, what are we doing? Fast forward to right now, he's one of the best left tackles, if not the best left tackle in the league. The offensive and the defensive lines in particular take a while to gel and mesh into something special. Look at Thayer Mumford. He's going to be our starting right tackle. You didn't see that coming, not in a million years. He just got better, and he held his own, and he got trial by fired, and he went in there, and he played well, and now he's our right tackle. And if Tyree Wilson can get to that, if he can just be a solid starting defensive tackle, one of the top 15 in the league, going up with a top 5 defensive tackle in the league in Christian Wilkins, a top 1 defensive end in the league in Max Crosby, and a top 16 defensive end in Malcolm Kuntz, that's all we need out of you. So Tyree, if you're out there, don't put too much pressure on yourself. That's the only way you can stop or halt your development. This right here. You've got everything else. We've seen the pictures. You look like an absolute monster. You've put the Raider Nation's mind at ease in terms of if we think you have what it takes to work as hard as you need to work in Antonio Pierce's new culture. We believe that you can do it. You just got to be able to put those raw, intangible measurables out there and make some plays. Stuff the run game. Get to the quarterback every now and again. When you see the guys around you getting doubled and it's one-on-one, you versus the center, you get right around his ass. You do whatever you can to make an impact defensively, and that's all the Raider Nation needs to see. We don't need 12 and a half sacks out of you. We got 20 sacks all around you, minimum. Max Crosby might have 20 himself. All you need to do is play the way we expect you to play. Hard-nosed, AP, Patrick Graham, go get him, hit the quarterback, hit the running back, football. And you have the body for it. You look insane. You make Max Crosby look like a little baby, a little ass boy, if you will. And he ain't a little ass boy. Comment below your thoughts on the picture, on everything. Join the Patreon, patreon.com/ALLaBorde Raiders. Link is in the description below. You get your name at the end of the credits. You get early access to videos, exclusive content, behind the scenes stuff. The Discord, link is in the description below. That's free. Just join the Discord. We're talking all the time in there. I'm doing another live stream on Monday for Madden stuff. It'll probably be sometime in the afternoon. You'll be able to click the notification thing to get ready for that. Please be sure to subscribe. It's free after all the charge to you. I love you guys, and I'll see you next time.